I think what disappoints me a bit is that people are somewhat misinformed. We are not the ones that actually are preventing student athletes from playing. In fact, if anyone was to believe for 1 second that the CIF Southern Section does not want student athletes to be out there playing sports, they're severely misinformed. And so these guidelines come from the California Department of Public Health, from the governor's office. They're defining the day right now. We've had a schedule in place. We announced it in July of 2020. We had all sports included, regular seasons, hopefully section championships, even state championship opportunities. That schedule has been out since last July. We've been ready to go. And so our schools would be ready to go, but it's not ultimately our decisions. It's going to be schools and school districts and private schools deciding when to open, but they're going to have to follow the guidelines from the California Department of Public Health. And that's been a constant conversation that we're still involved in every day, with trying to communicate to them our desires, hopefully that we can get student athletes to return to play. It has to be done in a healthy and safe way. But we're going to continue to advocate for our young people and continue to do all that we can, because it's important. And we know being part of a high school athletic program is very important to our young people. And that's really what this is about. And it is about them. And we've kept our focus on them, while maybe others believe that there's other things that we may have had an effect on this situation. I can assure you that since mid-March, on a daily basis, our focus has been on how we can get student athletes back, and we're going to continue to do that.
I know they mentioned, this will be the death of CIF football, which we thought was very absurd. What club doesn't have is they don't have that fan that sits in the same seat for decades and decades and decades. They're cheerleaders, the band. We talk about student sections. The rowdy student sections that kind of give those teams a big boost. That a familiar announcer like Bob Reddy from El Medino, or Tim Brutledge at Servite, that we always love. And and obviously we can talk about food, just delicious nacho smell you get from the snack bar. But yeah, that's the biggest one. And that's the kind of, has that been just the biggest critic, that one that people are saying, you know what, this guy may be going a little too far with his comments?
I don't believe club football is in any way a substitution for what we do. And I think people realize that. I'm not going to begrudge a student athlete who loves to play the game of football and had an opportunity to go do that. But I think everyone knows that club football is not who we are. We are Friday Night Lights. We are the team, the community. We're the cheer. We're the band. We're the student section. We're that person you mentioned, the alum maybe, that sits in the same seat for every game. That's who we are. And nobody else can replicate that. And club football can't replicate that. And so they're out there now and doing what they do, because we are not. And I just really believe when we return in what we do and how we do it, that we'll have what is so special about education-based athletics, and everybody realizing that we are special that way and unique. So again, we're not a Saturday afternoon on a cow pasture in Chino. That's not who we are. And we're about a team, a group of student athletes and coaches who work together for months to try to achieve goals together. Club sports are more about the individual. They're about the student athlete trying to get that next level opportunity or doing whatever they believe they need to do. So, there's a marked difference between club and high school, and there are places for both of us. But I don't believe there's a replacement for what high school education and high school athletics is, that clubs replace that. I just don't believe that's true. What I really like, and I said it a little bit earlier, I love the student sections. I really do. It's such a great part of what we do. And I know how much our student athletes love seeing their fellow students cheering for them and making noise and doing all they can in support of their team. So I think we've seen a real resurgence of the student sections. I think there's no question over the last several years that this has become a real sense of pride for schools, and really wanting to be the best student section they can be, and be better than other schools, and really show up and support their team. So I think that's been a really positive development with high school athletics over the last several years. And certainly in Orange County, it's become a big thing. And, the newspaper does rank the student sections, and they make a big effort to try to recognize them and let them know that they're being seen and so forth. So it's really been it's been fun to watch and fun to be part of. And just a little bit of a shout out to my old group at Los Alamitos, because they actually were selected as the student section of the year. And there's a tradition there of a lot of neat stuff. And actually both of my daughters graduated from Los Alamitos High School in 2014 and 2016. So, I was at certain things and where I saw it even when the girls were students there, because I left Los Al back in the year 2000. So it's been a while, but, having the girls go through there was fun, and them being part of the student sections too when they were students there. So yeah, we're really excited to see that, and hopefully, the most important part of the student section experience is that they're supporting their own team, that it's all about a positive thing about their school and so forth, and not so much about being negative towards their opponent or being disrespectful towards their opponent. And that's the best part of this, in terms of if they do it right, that there aren't going to be issues related to any other school. It's just about you doing the best you can for your school, your students, and like I said, we get to see them at their best, because we get to see them at the end. We get to see them at championship events. We get to see them in the finals. We get to see them where they've been building all season, and so I definitely I count that as one of the more enjoyable parts of what I do, is the experience watching it and enjoying it with the students.
I will say I do the rankings and the senior section week for OC Varsity, and Los Al did kind of brown nose their way with this big head they gave me last year.
Yeah, well, listen, whatever it takes.